Good day, everyone. I want to quickly address a question asked by one of the followers in the comment section. He said I should clarify the reason why United States of America is the only country that uses 110 distribution voltage, whereas other African and European countries adopt 220 volt distribution system. This is very simple. In the earlier stage, when electricity became commercialized, one of the countries that even discovered and built this grid system is United States of America. Some countries equally adopted it, but over the years, they discover that the distribution and transmission using this grid system is more expensive. Then this system becomes stuck. But because United States of America has built facilities and equipment around this system, it became so difficult for them to change because it will cost them a lot of money. So they continue with it. But currently, United States of America has become a dual system country because they have equally adopted 220 volt system to drive some of their load and at the same time sustain the existing 110 grid system. But 220 volt system that is adopted, how did they arrive at it? You know, when you have a transformer, if you measure the two terminals of a transformer, measuring between 110 and 0, it gives 110 volts. So the manufacturers of the transformers, distribution transformers, they just did is that they center tap 110 volts again between 110 and 0. So 110 plus 110 gives 220 volts, which means addition of 110 to another 110 gives 220 volts. So that is how a center tap system was developed in order to come up with a system that will enable us to transmit and distribute voltage in a more economical and efficient way. So that is how 220 volts was developed and adopted by most of the countries. What are now the advantage? The advantage of 220 volts over 110 volts is that you require less amount of current to drive a load. Let's take, for example, I have an equipment rated 2200 watts. If I want to operate it with 110 volt 50 hertz system, I'm going to need 20 amps of current in order to attain that 2200 wattage. Whereas if I operate the same equipment with 220 volt system, I need just 10 amps of current to attain a wattage, which means the more current you draw, the more the power loss, and it will require you to use a thicker wire to transmit and distribute power from one point to another. So this is one of the reasons why those countries discover that it is more expensive to distribute and transmit power using this grid system. So that was the reason why most of the countries in the world adopt 220 volt distribution voltage system. Hope this is clearly understood. When you operate on 220 volts, there is less power loss. Commercial electricity system become more economical. Even the final consumer, they will pay less because they will draw less current to attain any wattage they actually want to drive. So finally, when you are transmitting power from one point to another, you require a small cross-sectional area of wire. That is, thin wire can be used to deliver power from one point to another without busting the pocket of the consumer. So that is one of the advantages of a 220 volt system over 110 volt system. Only country that is economically buoyant or financially stable to sustain it can run 110 volt system. So United States still maintain this system up to today because they have already built their facilities and equipment towards this grid, and up to date they sustain it. So that is the reason why. So if you have any observation, addition, comment, endeavor to come to the comment section and put them there. Let us interact, let us deliberate. Nobody monopolizes knowledge, though, just like I used to say. I'm going to come your way next time. I'm your one and only engineer Oxford.